Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of Emco Pesticides Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the opening remarks conclude. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Saryam Pokharna from the Investment Lab. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Pokharna.
Thank you, Rutuja. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are well. Welcome to the Q4 and FY21 earnings conference call of Emco Pesticides Limited. From the management team, we have with us Mr. Sameer Dave, Executive Director, Mr. Ashit Dave, Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Hiren Shah, Purchase Manager. The investor presentation for Q4 has already been uploaded on Stock Exchange and has been emailed to you all. In case anyone does not have a copy, please do write to us. Before we begin this call, I would like to remind you all that everything said on this call that reflects any outlook for the future, which can be construed as a forward-looking statement, must be viewed in conjunction with the uncertainties and risks that we face. These uncertainties and risks are mentioned, but not limited to what has been mentioned in our annual reports. With that said, I would now like to hand over the call to Mr. Ashit Dave for a brief overview of the quarter and full financial year, post which we can begin the Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the conference call. I would quickly take you through the Q4 and FY21 financial performance and recent developments. Post that, we can take your questions. As you must have seen in our exchange filings and subsequent presentation, Q4 was a challenging quarter for Emco. Although we did decent in terms of revenue from operations, which stood at rupees 46.07 crores in Q4 FY21 as compared to 32.95 crores in Q4 FY20. We reported a loss on both operating profitability and net profitability side. Usually we keep 3 to 4 months of orders in hand, the price for which are fixed at the time of booking the orders. However, many base raw materials are procured on spot prices, and in times of escalated raw material prices such as Q4 and Q2, the company witnessed compression in margins. These escalated prices are passed on immediately in new orders that we book. However, we have executed the existing orders at the old pricing. And to add to this, Q4 profitability was also impacted due to escalated freight cost. As you all are aware, container shortages and disruptions worldwide have led to abnormally high freight cost. For most of our businesses, freight is included in, so we have to absorb the cost. For full year FY21, we witnessed a drop in sale from about 185 crore in FY20 to about 176 crore in FY21. One of the reasons for this drop is changing sales mix. If we look beyond the absolute numbers, the company has shifted the sales contribution from B2B formulations and trading business to technical and branded formulations. As a result, on a full year-on-year basis, technical did a sales of about 102 crore compared to 56 crore in the previous year, and about 81% growth. And branded formulation did sales of 35 crores compared to 22 crore in the last year, a 60% increase. In all fairness, this shift in sales mix couldn't deliver the higher profitability margin in FY21, which was the whole purpose of this exercise. But we feel that FY21 was one of the bad years for us. We should be able to correct this anomaly as we move forward. Moving ahead, we will continue to focus on increasing our technical sales, while the brand formulations will grow at pace of 15 to 20% year-on-year basis. On operation front, we have been focusing on executing the recently announced contract manufacturing deal. We have already begun trial production, and we have done 40% of the desired levels in April, 80% in May, and we will take this to 100% in going forward. At the same, this will start reflecting in our financial performance in the current year and going forward. We have also planned for a 10 crore capital expenditure this year, and we are currently undergoing a debottlenecking exercise in the manufacturing facility along with the construction of additional effluent treatment plant capacity. This project is running little delayed and is expected to be commissioned post-monsoon. With that said, I am now open to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on the touchtone phone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Shankar Das from Kanav Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. So my first question is on the profitability aspect. Our EBITDA margin are negative in Q4 and lowest in past 12 quarters. And you also mentioned that raw material cost increase and freight was also increased. But sir, I wanted to check how this could have such drastic impact on our profitability.
See, as I explained, that 60% of our business is export business. And in export business, we operate with orders which we receive from our customers well in advance, which at times are 3 to 4 months in advance. Now, once the orders are in place, we have to execute these orders. Most of the main raw materials are already lined up in advance. They are not bought after the order is received. But so the costing of the order is also depending on the current raw material prices. So this year what we witnessed was that some of the base raw material prices increased not in percentages, they increased in multifolds. For example, one of the raw material which we use is MCA, which was 36 rupees, 40 rupees a kg, has gone to a price level of 150 to 160 rupees a kg. So such kind of raw material increase could not be passed on to most of our customers. But once we finished these orders, we could then pass on the new pricing for the new orders. This reduction in profit margin was not only because of rise in raw material prices. Similarly, rise in export freight also affected the profitability, and export freight in various regions of the world has also increased multifold. It is not in percentage. So that also impacted the profitability. And one more reason, which was a one-off expense which we had to incur last year on pre-closure of advance authorization licenses which we had obtained. And we had to close these licenses because of lack of export order due to COVID. And for that we had to pay a very heavy interest cost on the raw materials which we had already imported. But that was a one-off cost. But that also led to the reduction in profitability. So all these things put together, affected the profitability.
Okay. Sir, but after September result, you mentioned that we are good. looking for a good margin in Q3 and Q4. So wanted to check what changed in terms of the external environment and that we couldn't achieve in a short-term goal.
Yeah, Q3 was not that much affected, but Q4 was severely affected due to raw material pricing and export freight going up. Also, a small impact was in Q4 was for some of the production shutdowns which we had to take for our capacity enhancement for the new contractual manufacturing type which we have started. So because of that, some of the sales were delayed and they were rolled over to April this year. So that also affected the quarter 4.
Okay. And now we can expect that pricing are well aligned with our raw material cost.
Yes. Now for the current year, for current quarter and for the year, all the increase in pricing due to raw material increase, freight cost increase, everything we have been able to pass on to the customer, and the margins are back at normal levels.
That's great. Yeah. So my next question is more targeted toward understanding our strategic priorities. So would be your immediate focus area for FY22? Is it primarily?
I didn't get your first part of your question.
What would be your focus area for 22? Yeah.
Focus area for this year would be increasing our technical manufacturing capacity. The contractual manufacturing agreement which we have done, for which we have achieved almost 80% of the agreed capacity, and now we are looking at achieving 100%, plus we are looking at increasing the volume further, because we want to increase the size of the contractual manufacturing business. So this year our focus will be on manufacturing on technical grade pesticides mainly.
And sir, on the product registration front, I remember correctly, you mentioned that you are expecting one registration in FY22. So what is the potential of this registration, and is it for existing product?
As of now, still one registration is expected by December. We just received last month, we received the status update, and the update still mentions December 21 as target date for one registration, and then beyond that 22, 23. So far we expect the date within this year.
Okay. And sir, about gestation period for commercialization?
Commercialization will take another 6 to 8 months.
Okay. That's great, sir. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for the contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parth Agrawal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for the opportunity. So I had a couple of questions. So one is on the contract manufacturing. So can you just give me a color on the margin aspect? Is it in line with 5 to 7% EBITDA margin that we have currently, or will it pull up our blended margin? Contract manufacturing.
It is little better than our current margins, but going forward, we still have not achieved the 100% capacity utilization of the increased capacity. Once we achieve our 100% utilization of the increased capacity, we will be improving the margin.
Okay. And secondly, you didn't mention the customer's name, which is understandable, but just wanted to check if the end product is to be used in India, or is it for the export customers?
It is for export.
It is for export. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay. Secondly, your technical and B2C formulation business, which is a high margin business, has grown tremendously from 40% to 78%. And so, but that is not translated into increase in the gross or EBITDA margin. So what's your thought on that?
I think in the total size of the business, it is still small, and we are expecting to grow in that segment 15 to 20% in current year also. and we will keep on growing in that segment. So over a period of few more quarters, there will be a significant impact.
No, but currently, anyways, it contributes 78% of a business which is high margin. But despite that, it's not flowing into our EBITDA.
No, you're talking about the branded formulation sales or
technical and B2C?
Technical and B2C. Okay. Yeah. So, technical and B2C in the current year, we, as I explained in my earlier answer also, our margins were severely affected due to this raw material increase, prices increase, and freight cost increase. And in the whole year, then, the interest cost also added to the, reduced profitability, one-time interest expense. So, but going forward, yes, the whole idea of increasing our focus and sales of technical grade and reducing the trading business was to improve on profitability, and that will happen since we have been able to pass on the increased cost.
So in FY22, we can expect the margins to normalize.
Yes.
Okay. Any guidance that you can give around margin, if possible?
I think by Q2 we would be better placed because the raw material prices have just started stabilizing. We still are not very sure how they are going to behave, but at the moment, all I would like to commit is that we are doing better than last few years as far as margins are concerned. But I would want some at least one more quarter to go, and then make a judgment call. Okay. But as so far we are doing well with margins.
Okay. And so since trading in this B2B formulation business, you are anyway scaling down that business. So are you intending to bring it down to zero, or what does the future hold for this segment?
No, we don't consciously intend to bring it down to zero. If there are opportunities in trading also beyond the current activities of business, which we are focusing on, we don't refuse to do trading business also. If there are opportunities, we will definitely take up that. But our concentration is more on manufacturing now.
Okay. Just a last question on branded formulation. Given that you have conservative or branded formulation growth, despite that you have achieved 60% growth in the same in last year. So is it one-off, or what kind of growth can we expect in FY22?
Last year, branded formulation sales did well across the board for all agrochemical companies because Indian agrochemical season was very good. This year also the monsoon has started very well. The prediction is also very good. So all companies are expecting to have similar increase in sales this year as well. So I would also expect us also to do well. But when I say we are conservative in expanding the business in the geographical area wise. We continue to operate in the same geography, same as last year. We have not added new markets in India to sell our branded formulation because of the COVID situation. We would have liked to add few more areas this year, but we have not. So keeping that in mind, I would still consider us as conservative on that business.
Okay. So just a final question on contract manufacturing. So you mentioned that at 100% capacity utilization, your margins will be at much better for contract manufacturing, or much better than the existing 5 to 7% margin.
Yes.
So do you expect contract manufacturing business to continuously run at 100% capacity, or how because if the capacity is going to be at 60-70% throughout the year, then the margins will be around 5-7% only. It won't increase.
See, our initial target was July to reach 100% capacity utilization, but it seems that it will be about a month delay. From August onwards, we will be on 100% capacity utilization for the initial understanding what we have done. But now we are already talking of increasing the quantity of the product production going beyond. So we will also again have to take a capex call this year and invest in additional capacity, for which again there will be some disruptions in production this year. So in the whole year, looking forward to increase the capacity beyond what we have now, I expect that we may not, in the whole year, on 12 months basis, we may not have the 100% capacity utilization.
But from next year you will have it.
Yes, yes. You know that we will have to take some shutdowns if we want to still further increase our capacity. But the current contract is for 3 years, and that will continue.
Okay. I think that's all from my side. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thanks.
And best of luck.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhwanil Desai from Total Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, 3 questions. The first one is, I'm looking at our product basket and consists of mainly 3 products. So how do you guys think about expanding the product basket, product concentration risk, and in next 3 to 4 years, any kind of a thought process around where does this number will be, increasing from 3?
Yes, we have new products which are under development, for which we will set up new manufacturing capacities going forward. And from the current product basket also, we are aware that one of the product which is chlorpyrifos is going to be phased out over a period of few years, 5 to 7 years. So we will have to have a replacement product ready. We already have a product ready as a replacement, and normally we had planned to start larger production of the new product this year, but keeping in view our commitment for the new contractual manufacturing agreement we have this year, we are concentrating on increasing our current products capacity, and we will take up the new product expansion next year onwards. But we do have products under development.
And then any update on the commercial scale up of the bifenthrin from our side? I mean, have we started shipping?
Commercial scale production of bifenthrin has already started, but it has started at a very small scale. We have not scaled up the production as yet because we are still awaiting for registration of this product in key export markets. Once we have these registrations, coming through, we will start investing in manufacturing facility with increased capacity of bifenthrin production. But at the moment, we are manufacturing bifenthrin, but which is not a very large quantity.
So is it safe to assume that actual scale up on bifenthrin side will probably come in FY23 because we get the registration and then we put up manufacturing capacity, etc. will take at least 12 months?
Correct. It will take that much time.
Okay. Second thing, sir, I wanted to understand in terms of all the products that we currently manufacture and in future that we are going to manufacture, how do we think about the backward integration? I mean, how much backward integrated we are, how many steps we do, inside the company, and, how many, at what stage we kind of, take the material from outside. Can throw some light on that part?
I'll say about, there are few key raw materials which we are still buying from outside, not manufacturing on our own. One of the reason is purely a commercial reason. Why? Because there are very large capacity manufacturing plants for these raw materials set up in China and in India. So we have option of buying these raw materials instead of manufacturing them. So far we don't see a problem in availability of any of these raw materials either from China or India, and because of which we have not gone backward in manufacturing these raw materials. We are more concentrating on manufacturing new products, new molecules, and as far as intermediates are concerned, we prefer to source them instead of manufacturing them. But one of the raw material which we are using right now, the size of our purchase has become quite large, and we will think of manufacturing that intermediate going forward, but not at the moment.
Okay. So, last two questions. So, is it safe to assume that, after we procure whatever raw material from outside, typically there are 2 or 3 steps involved to arrive at a final technical product, or like the number of steps are more?
Yeah, it depends on product. Some products there are 3 steps, some products there are 9 steps, some products there are 7 steps. So it depends on the product, yeah.
Okay. And last question, sir, this latest contract manufacturing opportunity that we have obtained. Now, in your presentation, you talk about the new products that you are targeting. One of the filter or the criteria that you are using is that should have at least mid-30s kind of a gross margin profile. So, Is this new contract manufacturing that you have taken up also falls into that range, or it will be much lower?
No, it's a separate arrangement. The current contract manufacturing agreement we have is one of the existing product. It's for the existing product which we were already manufacturing.
Okay. So the gross margin profile of that contract will be significantly lower, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much, sir. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ayush Mittal from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
My questions have been answered. I'll come back in the queue if needed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinti Biani from BLSL. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. So actually, congratulations on good sales growth. My question is again little to do with the margin profile, but it's not been asked as yet. So I wanted to understand, when I see our financials, I see that we have relatively lower gross margins of about 20 to 25%. We've hit about 29% in the last 5 years. But I've seen that we have payables of this year about 180 days. When I compare with our other similar companies, for example, in India pesticides, right, they would have 50-day payables but a 50% gross profit margin. So my question is it because we take a longer payable cycle that we procure raw materials more expensive? Is there any correlation with that which is causing our margins to be lower?
I would it's yes and no also. I'll tell you why. Because we do buy raw material on longer credits, but most of the time when we buy raw materials on longer credits, the additional incremental cost we pay is much less than the normal working capital cost anybody incurs in India. So they are not very significant cost for longer credits coming from China or coming from Europe. And why we do that is to, because a lot of our export also, finished product what we supply, we also extend long credits to our customers. So that helps our working capital cycle, and because of which we have these long payables and receivables.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Mona, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is more at a macro level. Like, what are the company's goals or vision for the next 2 or 5 years, given that the revenues have been really inconsistent in the last decade? So I understand there are multiple external factors like product registrations, raw material prices, etc. But what exactly is the company planning in next 5 years? What is the revenue goal that we are looking at?
Next 5 years, we are, looking at growing at least 20% year on year till next 5 years, because we have a few more products which we are going to bring in, and that would also add to our top line and the bottom line. But at the same time, we want to first stabilize our gross margin, net margin, because from last 4 to 5 years, we have seen a lot of ups and downs in our margins also. So our first target was to, have some activity which will, stabilize the margins of at least major part of our product at a fixed level, so that we can have some stability on our results, quarter on quarter. And going beyond, we are looking at adding more products in our basket, adding our capacity, manufacturing capacity, and incurring some capex in the existing plant, plus the current, the infrastructure facility we have, so that we can consistently grow at 20% and beyond over the next 5 years.
Okay, sir. And would that be safe to assume that we are slowly moving towards double-digit margins in next 2 to 5 years?
That is the target. But, as this last year was a year full of challenges for us, though we started the year with that target in mind, knowing very well that we have a COVID situation, we will have a lot of challenges. But, keeping all that in mind, we do always have the target of achieving double digit.
Okay. My last question, sir, is has there been any progress on the pledge revocation?
Now, it's mainly because of the very small working capital borrowing we have done. We had planned to start repaying the borrowing this year, but looking at the additional capex, we are discussing for further enhancement of our capacity. I'm not yet comfortable taking that call now. We will see how the first 2 quarters go, and if the cash flow permits, we will start repaying the debt. Once we do that, the pledge will go away.
Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Kela, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. So this is with respect to the 250 crore order that we received. So I just wanted to understand as to how does this order change the dynamics of our business, because I understand that this is possibly the biggest order that our company has received till date. So will we be eligible for bidding for many more such contracts, given the huge contract that we've received? And again, how is the revenue split going to be, considering the fact that it is a 3-year order? So year 1, year 2, year 3, what is the split?
One of the biggest advantage what we see in this is that the product for which we have made this contract was our existing product. It's our existing product. And we've always seen last 5 years ups and downs in volumes and in margins in the product. Some year we will have these are very highly seasonal product. Some year we will have a very large volume production and sales. Some year then suddenly we see 50% reduction in the quantities, and then again next year we have higher volumes. So because of these ups and downs, we were not really able to capitalize. Now what this contract does is that it brings stability to production, it brings stability to the volumes of this product, and brings stability to the margins of this product. So on the whole, our performance improves substantially, and this the contract also has an opportunity of increasing the volumes going beyond, which we are already discussing now. So it will definitely help the company going forward. As far as other products are concerned, we have not yet discussed anything on those fronts. We will take it as it goes. Right now, our focus is on completely achieving whatever we have committed for this current contract.
So how would the revenue split, sir? I mean, because it's a 3-year order, so how much revenues are we going to realize across
this year? The incremental revenue because of this is going to be about 70 crore rupees. Going forward, next year revenues, we will, I'll be better of telling you in our next con call when we have a decision of how much quantity we want to increase or not increase. So, but if nothing changes, it's about 70 crore rupees addition this year to the top line.
Okay. And one last question which I had is, if it was not for this order, would we have seen flattish kind of revenues for this year, or because you guided earlier that 20%?
Yeah, difficult to say because, we would have looked at something, else in the sense that the new product which we already have developed and ready, we would have, scaled up and worked hard on getting that product scaled up earlier than what we are expecting now. So very difficult to make a judgment call on that. So if this contract was not there, then what would have happened? Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, sir. So just one final request, if we can have these con calls on a quarterly basis instead of a half-yearly basis.
Okay. Yes, I'll take that as a good suggestion, and we'll work on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, we would now like to hand the conference to Mr. Sanyam Pokharna for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for joining in the call. We look forward to interacting you in the future as well. If there are any further queries which have not been answered, you can please write us on the emails mentioned at the back of the investor presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. On behalf of Emco Pesticides Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.